are so lucky today, fifth graders, to have a special person in our district who is in baking contests. And her name is Jamie Salafia. And you can see that Jamie has won many ribbons in different competitions for her incredible baking. So we are going to have her talk to us a little bit today about the process she goes in to become the great blue winner she is in competition. What made you decide to do baking and to be in baking competitions?
Well, I've always loved to cook, and I especially like to bake, and it's been a passion of mine for years. And when I worked in another district, there was an instructional aide who did some competing in fairs, and I liked Wilma's stuff, and I thought, you know what, mine's just as good. So I thought a few years back, I'm gonna go for it. I'm not gonna be afraid. You should never be afraid to try something new. And you always get the little butterflies in your stomach, but I thought, hey, let me try it. And entering any kind of competition can give you motivation to try different things.
Well, how do you enter into a contest? What are some of the things you have to do to be in the baking contest? Let's say at the Orange County Fair.
Well, that is where I do my competing. But just like anything else that's new, always follow the directions. You need to read those contest rules very carefully because they have very specific directions on how many of any one item that you're supposed to do, how you need to turn it in. You don't want to give them any reason to disqualify your entry at all. And make sure you've got the deadline dates down, and you understand what that's, and you've made arrangements to get there, to drop things off. And any kind of recipe limitations, anything that they have about the rules, make sure you follow them carefully and to the T, because you don't want to get disqualified for some stupid little thing.
It's important to look at the rules in a competition. So here you've looked at the rules. How do you decide like what to bake? Like we have these great goodies here. How do you decide what you're going to enter into and make it yours?
There's a lot of different ways to get inspiration. Reading cookbooks, there's lots of wonderful food channel shows on, but you can always start with family recipes, something that you know is a favorite of your family. But sometimes you can mix it up a little bit. Take an old family favorite, try something new with it. Say, for example, you've got a pie that's got whipped cream on it. Maybe add a little cinnamon, dust it with cinnamon on it to give it a little different flavor, or cocoa powder. Or instead of using vanilla extract, use almond extract. Or instead of a shortbread crust, try a ginger snap crust. There's a lot of different ways you can mix it up and try different things.
Well, tell me, you've talked about what you've done with your recipes, so how do you prepare then and practice to make sure that it's the exact one you want?
Well, you do it several times. You have to practice. You have to try, you bake several batches. And one of the fun things that we get to do at work, and my colleagues really enjoy this, is when I bring them in for sampling, and I'll bring in like two different versions of the same recipe, and I'll say, which one do you like better?
Oh, great. Now it's the day and of the contest. What's the process that you go through to get them ready to look like this? What is it that you do?
You get up early. You start early, and you make sure, especially when you have like bars and cookies, again, you follow those rules. And remembering that it's not just how things taste, it's how they look. Yeah, the judges judge with their eyes as well as with their mouth. So you want to make sure of all the batches of cookies that you've done, you pick out the 6 most perfect looking ones you can find. And those are the ones you're entering.
Then the judges look at and taste yours, and how do you find out if you've won?
Well, they have a couple different ways. This year they did something new, but the way it's been done in the past is the Wednesday, usually the fair opens on a Friday, and the Wednesday before you drop off your baked goods. Again, you have a certain time of day that you're supposed to be dropping them off, and remember that you have to drop it off with the ingredient list with it, in a bag. They're very strict about how it needs to be done. And then the day of the fair, you go opening day, And I'm there holding my daughter's hand, and she walks, and we have our tradition, and we walk in there, and we go to the cases to see where is it, and we try to see how, and we find out how I did.
Oh, and then there's, okay, so a ribbon will be next to yours.
Yes, there'll
next
be a
to
ribbon
yours.
next to it.
Okay, and your recipe's not there, is it?
No, you only have to turn in an ingredient list, but one of the
Okay.
things they do for the winners is they ask if you'd like to be part of they do a cookbook every year.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and they ask if you'd like to be part
Have
of
you
it.
done that?
No, my recipes are secret. I don't do that.
So is there anything else you want to tell our 5th graders to remember about a baking contest? Anything else you want them to
Well, I
remember?
think competitions of any kind are fun. And if you want to be competitive, means you start with your passion. I love to cook. I love to bake. What's your passion? There's all kinds of, especially at the fair, there's all kinds of opportunities for competitions there. And if you want to be competitive, means you start with your passion. I love to cook. I love to bake. What's your passion? There's all kinds of, especially at the fair, there's all kinds of opportunities for competitions there. Not only do they have baking competitions for kids, they have cake decorating competitions. There's collections. There's sewing, there's sculptures, there's woodworking, there's photography, there's art, all different kinds of flowers. You can grow flowers and vegetables. They have vegetables too, vegetables and fruits, tons of different types of competitions. Because I've been pretty successful, but sometimes there's years I'm not as successful.
But you keep trying, don't you?
Absolutely.
That's
It's
great.
kind of like,
persevere.
oh yeah? Oh yeah? I'll get it next year.
Well, it was so lovely to be with you, Jamie, today, and thank you for sharing, even though you didn't share the recipes. Thank you for sharing with us how you enter into a baking contest. Thank
That was
you.
my pleasure. Thanks, Helen.